All right, let's get right into it. As a manager, you're always looking at the numbers, right? Sales, bookings, whatever it is. But have you ever just stopped and really asked yourself why? Why do they go up? Why do they go down? It's not just about what changed, it's about the story behind that change. And that's what we're going to dig into today. We're going to decode those two big forces, supply and demand. Because really, if you can get a handle on them, you can start mastering your market. So let's jump in.
So picture this, okay? You're the manager of this amazing resort, let's say in Tanjung Lusung. You wake up one morning, grab your coffee, check the system, and whoa, bookings have doubled overnight. Your first instinct is probably to pat yourself on the back, right? Yes, that new marketing campaign was a genius move. But hold on a second, was it really your brilliant plan? Or did you just get lucky? Did something else happen? Something totally outside your control? Nailing down the answer to that question, well, that's the difference between being a strategic genius and just riding a wave of good luck.
So, to figure this out, we have to put on our detective hats. And the first place we need to look isn't inside our own company walls. Nope. We've got to look for clues on the outside. We're talking about those big external forces that are messing with what your customers want, how many of them even exist, and when they decide to pull out their wallets. It's like a big puzzle, the customer demand puzzle.
Okay, let's grab our first clue. Imagine the government just finished building a brand new toll road, and it leads right to your area, right to Tanjung Lusung. All of a sudden, that weekend trip that used to be a 5-hour slog through traffic, it's now an easy breezy 2-hour drive from the city. So what does that actually do? Well, it fundamentally makes your entire location way more attractive.
And here's what that looks like on a graph. The entire demand curve for your resort, it shifts to the right. Now, this is super important. This has nothing to do with you changing your price. This is about accessibility. Think about it from the customer's perspective. The total cost of their vacation just went down, not because your rooms are cheaper, but because the hassle, the time, the gas money to get there, all of that dropped. So now, at every single price you could possibly offer, more people are ready and willing to click book.
All right, clue number 2. This one is something you literally cannot plan for. Somebody, a random influencer maybe, posts a 30-second TikTok video. It's just showing off how gorgeous the local beaches are. And boom, it goes viral. We're talking millions of views. People who didn't even know Tanjung Lusung existed are now seeing it as the next it spot for a vacation. From an economics point of view, what you've just witnessed is a massive, almost instantaneous shift in what people like, in their tastes and preferences.
And what does that do to our graph? You guessed it. That demand curve takes another huge leap to the right. All of that buzz, that interest, it was driven completely by social media. And it means you have a whole new flood of potential customers who are suddenly desperate to visit. This is a perfect example of a huge, sudden spike in demand that you did absolutely nothing to create. It just happened.
Okay, for our last demand-side clue, let's look at your competition. Let's say there's another resort town nearby, Anyer, that's usually more popular, but lately, things aren't going so well over there. The online reviews are tanking. People are complaining it's gotten dirty, or way too expensive, or just too crowded. So now, all those tourists who were planning a beach trip to Anyer, they're thinking twice. They're looking for an alternative, a substitute. And guess what? Your beautiful, clean resort in Tanjung Lusung is looking mighty good right about now.
And just like that, you see it in your bookings. Those unhappy customers from Enye start flocking to you. Your demand goes up, and again, it's not because you did anything new or different. It's because your main competitor got worse. Their weakness literally becomes your strength, pushing your entire demand curve, you got it, to the right.
Okay, so we've looked at all these things happening outside your business that can give you a huge boost. That's the demand side. But what about the stuff you actually can control? Let's flip the script and look at the other side of the coin, supply. We're going to see how the decisions you and other businesses make and just the basic costs of being in business can change the whole market. So what's the most obvious way to increase supply? Well, you build more stuff. Simple as that. Let's say some savvy investors from Pandaglong see all this new buzz around Tanjung Lusung. They decide to jump in and build a bunch of new high-end glamping sites. Just like that, the total number of rooms available for tourists in the area has physically gone up. And that action, building more rooms, shifts the whole market supply curve to the right. It means that for any price you can think of, there are now more rooms for sale. Now, if you're a manager, this is kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, hey, it's great. It means the market is hot. But on the other hand, you've got new competition. And when the total supply in the market goes up like this, basic economics tells us that it's going to start pushing prices down. But supply isn't just about how many buildings there are. It's also about how much it costs to keep the lights on. So what happens if, say, electricity prices just go through the roof? That's a huge cost for any hotel. Suddenly, your monthly utility bill is gigantic. Every air conditioner, every light, every pool pump, it all just got more expensive to run. And that means each room you rent out is a little less profitable than it was yesterday.
And here's our first look at a shift in the other direction. The supply curve moves to the left. It shrinks. And why is that? It's because the cost of supplying one more room for one more night just went up. Some hotels might decide it's not worth it to open their top floor to save on AC. Or, in a really bad situation, a smaller place might just shut down for a while. The end result is the same. The total number of rooms actually available on the market has gone down.
Okay, let's talk about one more huge factor, and it's a modern one: technology. Think about all the online booking sites out there. They make it so easy for anyone, someone with a spare cottage, a small guest house, whatever, to list their property for rent. All of these rooms that were basically hidden from the market before are now suddenly visible and bookable. They're now part of the total inventory.
And what does that do? It shifts the supply curve to the right. It's really cool when you think about it. Technology didn't physically build a single new hotel room, but it made all these existing rooms available to everyone, which has the exact same effect as building new rooms. It basically just lowered the barrier to entry for all these small-time suppliers, connecting their hidden rooms with all those tourists looking for a place to stay.
So you've got all these different forces, right? Pushing demand, pulling supply. It can feel like a lot. But if you want to make the right call as a manager, you have to understand one single, crucial difference. This is the whole key to the puzzle. This is the big reveal.
And here it is. This is the most important thing you'll hear today. The difference between a movement along the curve and a shift of the curve. A movement is all about price. You change your price, you move to a different point on the same curve. You lower your price, you sell more rooms. Simple. The basic demand is still the same. But a shift, that's a whole different ballgame. That's when the entire curve, the entire set of rules, has changed. A shift means something fundamental about the market is different now. A movement makes you ask, should I change my price? A shift forces you to ask, do I need to change my entire strategy?
And honestly, knowing that difference, it's everything. It's what separates a manager who just reacts to the daily numbers from a leader who actually understands the story behind the numbers. It lets you stop just reacting and start making smart, strategic moves.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Let's go back to that viral TikTok video. It happens. Your resort is suddenly overwhelmed with people wanting to book. So what do? Do you just raise your prices to make some quick cash? That's a tactical movement along your new, higher demand curve. Or do you see this as a fundamental shift in the market? A sign that you need to think bigger, hire more staff, maybe even plan an expansion for the long haul? The way you answer that question, well, that could determine the entire future of your business. What's your next move?